Om Sadashiva-Samarambham Shankara-Acharya-Madhyamam Asmadacharya-Paryantam Vande Guru-Paramparam. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां हयग्रीवमुपास्महे। ओम श्री हयग्रीवाय नमः। ओम श्री वल्लभा समेत श्री महागणाधिपतये नमः। We were discussing let us say, the nature of avidya, okay, because this is the most contentious topic, I think, forever, not only now. So here, our Sampradaya Acharyas, what they say is, the avidya is anadi bhava rupam, but it is removed by jnanam, jnana nivartyam is there also. So this is a big red rag for many people. How can you say that it exists and but it is beginningless? If it is existing beginningless, then it cannot be removed. Anything which is beginningless and existing can never become destroyed, or it will come to an end. You cannot say it is also endless. That is the idea. See, that's why this bhava rupam word also we have to understand. Kinchit bhava rupam or bhava rupam is used. So the bhava rupam is used in the meaning of bhava sadrisham. It is as though existing only, we can say. So in this context, that's why we say it is not anadi bhava like Brahman. Brahman is the only thing which is anadi and bhava. Then there is atyanta asat is there, like Shashashringa, etc., which don't even appear. So since this is appearing, this is non-existent but appears. Now how do we categorize this? This is where all the confusion comes. Now one set of people say that whatever appears has to be true. The other set of people are saying, if you say it is non-existent, even then it is non-existent only, it is abhava, even though it appears and all that. They spin a different kind of a story there. So some people are talking about jnana, jnana abhava. I don't know what they really say, in fact, because the more they explain something in their prakriya, the more confusing it seems to me. So I have given up understanding what they are really trying to even convey. Whether there is even any prakriya there itself is doubtful to me now. But the traditional acharyas, even the Shankara-Bhashya and Vartika, all of them are very clear, I think, that we say that avidya appears, but it is destroyed. That's why we say that it is bhava, abhava, vilakshanam and all. We have to say that. So the nature of avidya is anirvachaniya only, we have to say. So it is abhava vilakshana because it is cognized, correct? It appears. And it is bhava vilakshana because it is removed by jnana. So asachet na pratiyeta, satchet na nivartate and all that, like this, there is a saying. So if it is sat like Brahman, it cannot go away. And if it is asat like Shashashringa, it cannot even appear. But it appears and it goes away. Therefore, we have to say all these things. Now, in this context, our author is trying to explain this in a lot of detail. And he has given very nice points here, actually, which you can ponder and some clarity you can get in this. So here when we say ajnana is beginningless, in what way we mean that beginninglessness is the question here. So here he gave two interesting things about this beginninglessness. Okay. I think we saw this already, but anyway, it's good to re-look into this. Ajnanasya anaditvam na janma abhava prayuktam, he says. It's not because it was really not born and all, we cannot say. We can even consider it as being born. But the point is, kintu tat kalpaka abhava prayuktam, tat janma upalakshita kala abhava prayuktam. See, two problems are there. If you say it is born, who gave birth to ajnana? So the kalpaka has to be there. Or even if you say ajnana appears, who made it appear? No, you cannot say Brahman made it appear, because Brahman being Niskriyam, Brahman cannot bring about ajnana. So there is no kalpaka, the producer is not there. And when it was produced or created, time also you cannot say. This time part, even in normal, any avidya, if I ask when did it start, you cannot point a time, correct? Even Laukik, Vishaya, Avidya, any Vishaya with reference to that, if you have an Avidya, nobody can say when it started. If I ask when did it start, means it was always there, only you have to say. But once you learn about that Vishaya, that Avidya goes away. That's all we can say. So the Kalpaka and Kala, etc., one cannot pinpoint. In that context only, we are saying that Avidya is Anadi. That is the argument here. I think it is a reasonable argument. And so this is the place I think we were seeing all these arguments, correct? Ajnana abhave tat janya samvatsaradi atmaka kalasya katham sattvamiti kala bhava. So this ajnana itself is not there, if you say. Then also there is a problem. And ajnana is really produced, if you say also there is a problem. Okay, because Brahman alone is there, and Brahman being akriyavan, it cannot create ajnana. And because of that you say, no, then there is no ajnana at all. Then also then you cannot account for all the ajnana karya which we are having here, including kala. So now the next question is what? If this is so, then how did this ajnana appear, or how did it get created? Okay. So nacha evam katham ajnanasya janmeti vachyam. So how can this ajnana be born? Like this also you cannot ask. Why? Adhishtanasya brahmana sattvat. The Brahma Adhishtana is there. That is good enough. Because for a Mithya creation, Adhishtana being there is good enough. The Adhishtana itself cannot have any Kalpakatvam. See, the rope being there is good enough for you to see the snake. That's all we can say, correct? If you go and ask the rope, did you create the snake? What will it say? It will laugh, correct? It did not create anything. So that's how this is. From the standpoint of Brahman, Brahman has not neither created Ajnana nor its Karya, etc. So from the standpoint of rope, there is no rope Ajnanam or even rope snake, etc. But from the standpoint of snake, if you ask, we have to say rope Ajnanam is there, and that is what projected the snake, etc. So it is purely a shifting of standpoints, and sometimes people get confused when they mix up these standpoints. That's what I see, and it is unnecessary, I think. We have to be very clear. In fact, Vartikakara is very clear that this ajnana itself can be talked only in the ajnana dasha, correct? Once, when the jnanam is there, there is no ajnana itself. So, all the talk about ajnana and what is the ajnana ashraya, ajnana vishaya, so this debate also has been going on for so long. And people are, I don't know, they are all wasting their energy in all that. So whatever makes sense to you, I think you should stick to that. Even there, Vartikakara himself has said that. So whichever prakriya makes you understand Brahman and gives you moksha, that is the prakriya for you. Okay, so I don't think one needs to go into all, because in any prakriya, at some point you have to make this shift from the ajnana drishti to the jnana drishti, correct? That shift is not something logical or anything. That shift has to happen. So here, anyway, he is asking the Purva Pakshi, how can this ajnana be born? Means we have to say adhisthana being there is good enough. That's all. If an adhisthana is there, then there can be an ajnana with reference to that adhisthana, and then all the ajnana karya can appear. That's all we can say. Okay. So if we say this, then what? Then also what they are saying? Nacha satyapi adhisthane nimitta abhavat katham janmeti vachya. So even if the adhisthana is there, there has to be some nimitta. Without the nimitta karana, how can something appear? This is the logician or the Tarkika question. But within the Sriti, all this Anumana and all we can use. So now our author will say that with reference to Ajnana, you cannot use such Anumana. Because it is Shrauta, he is saying. Shrautasya arthasya atindriyasya na atishankaniyat niyatvat atishankaniyatvat, he is saying. See, about Ajnana, Shruti is talking. So with reference to what the Shruti is revealing, whatever Shruti is revealing is Atindriya. It is beyond perception and inference. And so in that, you cannot be only using Tarka. In fact, this point comes up even in the Brihadaranyaka, correct? The Gargi keeps on questioning. And then at one point, Yajnavalkya says that your head will fall down. Okay? Because Tarka can go only up to so long. And at some point, you have to surrender to the Shruti. We are all like Shruti Pramana Vadin, correct? For us, Shruti is the Antyam Pramana. So Tarka and all has to be Shruti Sammata Tarka. How to assimilate the teaching of the Shruti, for that we can use Tarka. So Tarka has no independent standing. So here, whatever is, for example, even in science, whatever is an axiom, there you cannot question, correct? So like that, here whatever Shruti is saying with reference to Ajnanam, we have to accept that. There you cannot keep on doubting that or raising some objections by using Anumana. So once we say this, now the Purvapakshi comes back. What does he say now? He says, Nacha Shrutau Ajnana Janma Na Shruyate iti Vachyam. So he is now saying in the Shruti there is nowhere the Shruti says that Ajnana is born, Ajnana's Janma is there. Where does the Shruti say that? Means he is now quoting Maya cha Vidya cha Swayameva Bhavati iti Shrute. So this is the Nrisimha Uttara Tapaniya Upanishad. And this Upanishad is a Vaishnava Upanishad also. So it is very telling that we quote this. In fact, there is supposed to be a Shankara-Bhashya also to this. There is a Bhashya, but I don't know whether it is really Shankara-Bhashya. Maybe at some other time we can even look into this. Nrisimha Uttara Tapaniya Upanishad itself. Very interesting Upanishad. So here it says, Maya cha avidya cha swayameva bhavati. So this Maya and Avidya, they are there by themselves. Means that is why even in the Sampradaya we say Swapara Nirvahaka. Swapara Nirvahakatvam is there for Avidya or Ajnana. So it brings itself into existence and brings other things also into existence, its karya. And there is no Atmashraya dosha. Otherwise, because if you keep on analyzing what is the karana, what is the karana. Once you say ajnana is the karana, what is the karana of ajnana also means, then we can only say Brahman is the adhisthana. Brahman cannot be really be the karana of ajnana. So that's why we say that ajnana establishes itself, it is self-establishing, and then it creates its karya. So swayameva bhavati, like that beautifully the Shruti is saying, and therefore you cannot keep on questioning this. Okay. So even once we say this, what they come back and say what they are saying, nacha adityo yupaiti katham viruddhasya shrautasya api arthasya parigrahe iti parigraha iti vachyam. So of course there are statements in the Shruti like adityo yupaha, means we don't literally take the yupa as aditya, correct? Yupa is a stamba. It is the sacrificial post, you can say. How can it be aditya? Therefore, it is an arthavada, like that we make meaning out of it, correct? So, like this, all this, there are viruddha statements or where there is no yogyata, if you literally take it. Wherever there is no yogyata, when you literally take the meaning, when it is not tenable, then we have to give some lakshana artha, or we have to give some other meaning, correct? Gauna artha, or we have to say it is only for praise, etc. So why can't this be considered like an arthavada? And why are you taking it as a pramana vakya? This is the question here. Because this is viruddha, he is saying. We don't accept that. We don't accept that this avidya swayameva bhavati can be disproved by perception or inference, etc. So he is simply saying aviruddhatva, because there is no virodha in this case. Adityo yupaha, you can say it is pratyaksha viruddha. But here there is no virodha. Why? Katham, he is asking now. Uchyate, why? Jagadrupa karya lingaka anumana gamyasya ajnanasya karya bhave linga bhavadeva anumana anavatarena siddhehe. Okay, see the Jagat karya, Jagat is a karya, let us say. And then we arrive at the karana for Jagat as avidya. But avidya itself is a karya, for that there is no linga. Correct? What is the linga for that? You cannot just assume that avidya also is a karya, correct? So this that if you assume that and then say avidya should have a karana, etc., and then say no, Shruti cannot say it is there by itself and all that, then it's only an assumption. You don't have any linga by which you can arrive at this. Anavatarena means you are not able to arrive at this conclusively, correct? Therefore, it is not established. So that ajnana itself is a karya that cannot be established by any anumana. Therefore, in this case, whatever Shruti says, you have to go with that. That is the stance we are taking. Because the if you take the Jagat itself as a karya, fine. And even there is Anumana and all cannot work. Understand that. Many people, although the Tarkikas claim that Ishvara can be established by the Karya Karana Anumana itself, taking the Jagat as a Karya and Ishvara has to be there as a Karana. But many people refuse to accept the Jagat itself as a Karya. There is no clinching argument to arrive at the fact that Jagat is a Karya or Jagat is intelligently put together, etc. We can say. But people also, even scientists have written books like Blind Watchmaker and things like that. Even if the probability of everything randomly coming like this, the world, whatever we perceive is, I don't know what the probability is or whether anybody can even calculate it, but it must be very, very minuscule, correct? But then they go with that. Of course, there are some agenda behind all these things also, I think. But anyway, what I am saying is, even the Jagat as a Karya itself, only Shruti has to say that for us. So this being the case, you cannot have all this Anumana and say that Vidya has to have a Karana, Vidya itself is a Karya, etc. Nobody can arrive at that. Okay. So if we say that, then what he is saying? If Avidya is born, if we say, then what? Now, he is saying, Nacha pralaye ajnana bhavaha tarhi iti vachyam. So now he is saying, then if you say ajnana is born, then in pralaya there is no ajnana. Okay. That is their argument now. So pralaya ajnana bhavaha tarhi. So if what you are saying is true, that ajnana also has janma, etc., then in pralaya there cannot be any ajnana, means no, it is there. That's why it is avyakta. Avyaktat vyaktaya sarvaha. Correct? So everything comes from the avyakta or maya, we have to say that, correct? Everything is maya kalpita desha kala kalana. Even in Dakshinamurti Stotram, everything is maya kalpita, but maya itself is swakalpita, we have to say, correct? Swayam bhavati. Swayameva bhavati. Maya cha avidya. So here it is there in Sukshma Rupa, we have to say, even in Pralaya. Sukshma Prapancha Sattva. So in the Pralaya, only the Sthula Prapancha is gone. Potentially it is there. Once we say this word, then they go the other way around. Okay, then what? Nacha evam prapancha pralayoho ubayoho api ajnana sattvat and nityameva iti vachyam. Then they go to the other end. Okay. So this ajnana is there when the prapancha is there, when the stula jagat is there, manifest world is there, and then in pralaya also it is there in the unmanifest, you say. So if it is there all the time, then ajnana becomes nitya. How can there be another entity other than Brahman? Advaita Hani. This is a typical argument. Okay. Again, nobody, these people don't understand mithyatva. That is the problem. This argument is given by even the jnana abhava people. Okay. So then what do we say? Muktau bhava. There is no ajnana in mukti. Understand that. Jnana abhavatvam is not dependent on pralaya or srishti, but it is not there in mukti. For the jnani, there is no ajnana. Okay. Once we say this, what? Then he comes back. What? Nahi muktau sukshma rupa sthula rupaha va kaschit prapanchaha asti yena ajnanam asti iti anumiyeta. Okay. Also, okay, this I think the Siddhanti only says. He says in the mukta avastha or in mukti, this there is no sukshma or stula prapancha. The jnani does not cognize, or we have to say, does not see any real sukshma or stula prapancha. Therefore, what? From that you can infer that ajnana is there through that. So in mukti, ajnana abhava, we are saying. Once we say this, the Purva Pakshi is now saying something very interesting. He is saying, Nacha muktavyeva Brahma advitiyam natu sarvada. So he is saying, no, in that case, Brahman is advitiya only during in the mukti, not always. So right now, Brahman is sadvitiyam. So Dvaitam is there. Dvaitam is Satyam now. Okay, in one way we accept in the Vyavahara, but still how much they are holding on. So he is now saying, no, no, Brahman is only Advitiya in the Mukta Avastha. It is not Advitiya now. It is not always Advitiya. Natu Sarvada. Why? Satvat Ajnana Tat Karyayoho iti. Because right now the Ajnana and its Karya are there. If you say that also, we don't accept. Why we say what? Tasya Nitya Muktatva. Brahman is Nitya Mukta Shuddha Mukta Swabhavaha. Correct? Nitya Shuddha Mukta Swabhavaha. Therefore, there is no question of Brahman not being Advitiya right now. In fact, Brahman cannot really become Sadvitiya. So all Dvaitam is Mithya, Dvaitam Iva. That's why we have to understand this. Iva word is very important. It's all as though Dvaita. The as though Dvaita cannot affect the Advitiyam Brahma in any way. Okay. Therefore, what? But even after we say this, what? They come back. What? Nacha idanim tasya ajnana satvat pratam nitya muktatum iti vachyam. So now he is saying, right now ajnana is there, karya is there, jagat is there. We are only talking in the ajnana dasha. You and me being there itself is good enough. So now the ajnana being there, ajnana sattvam is there now, correct? That being the case, how can you say Brahman is nitya mukta? Brahman cannot be nitya mukta. In fact, Brahman itself has become this jiva. Anena jivena anupravesha shruti and all is there, correct? So how can you say Brahman is nitya mukta? Then we say what? Baddha drishtya eva tasya jnana sattvam iti. This is the important thing. In the ajnana dasha itself, Brahman is sadvitiyam, ajnana is there, all these things. That's what the drishti is so important. The standpoint. From the standpoint of the bound person or ajnani, the one who does not have jnanam, from that standpoint only ajnana is there. Ajnana's swapara nirvahakatvam itself is in the ajnana drishti only. From the ajnana drishti, this is a very important thing again. So we are saying, baddha drishtya eva tasya ajnana sattvam. There cannot be any ajnana from the standpoint of Brahman, and Brahman is always like that. So there is no question of Brahman not being nitya mukta. And he is giving this uluka drishtanta yatha uluka drishtya surye tamasaha satva. Of course, even in the Gita also Bhagavan says this jnana drishti and ajnana drishti is what yanisha sarva bhutanam tasyan jagrati sanyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato munehe. So the whatever the jnani is awake to is different from what the ajnani is awake to. They both are the reality is only one, but they are both are seeing it totally differently. Like even owl during the daytime, it is dark for it. Okay, whether the current scientists really agree with this, I don't know. But I think the owl's eyes, the rods and cones and all, they are in one way. They have only lot of. I think the cones are the ones which see at darkness. I think they have a lot of cones in their eyes, maybe, so that it is becoming blinding for them. They cannot see the bright light properly. That's what he is mentioning. So tamasaha sattvam. For the owl, there is darkness or blinding. It is blinded during day, but at night it is able to see. So something like that. The drifty is different. Iti. Or what? Now he is giving. So athava ajnanam saditva naditva durnirupameva. Or it is better to say that it is durnirupa simply. Because previously all the arguments we have made saying that anadi has janma, but its anaditvam is only with reference to there being no kalpaka and kala, etc. We cannot do nirnaya when it was born or who made it appear, etc. But otherwise, what? Simply go with anirvachaniyatvam, it is easier. It doesn't have any neither sadi nor anadi. You cannot categorize it as this or that. Therefore, it is durnirupam. It is anirvachaniya. It cannot be established as this conclusively. Conclusively, nobody can establish the nature of jnana. Kalpaka abhavat na saditvam. Janma shravanat na anaditvam. Evam sarvathapi durnirupatva tasya anirvachyatva lakshanam mithyatvam sangachate. So what do we say now? See, you cannot say that who made this ajnana appear. Means you cannot point to anybody. Brahman also you cannot point. Therefore, you cannot say it is born. Saditvam is not there. It is not with the beginning. But since Shruti itself says Swayameva Bhavati, Janma Shravanat, na Anaditvam, Anaditvam also you cannot say. There is a Janma Shravana is there. So in this way, in all ways, correct, Sarvathapi, Durniroopatva, it cannot be established as either born or not born, either having beginning or whether it is beginningless, etc. None of these categories it is fitting. Therefore, it is Durnirupa and it is Anirvachya only. So, Tasya Anirvachyatva Lakshanam Mithyatvam Sankachate and it is Anirvachya and therefore itself it is Mithya. It is false. It is a false appearance. So, that's what we can conclude. And he is further explaining that Nahi Yaya Kaya Pividhaya Nirupanarham Vastu Mithya Bhavitum Arhati. So, if you can establish a Vastu in whichever way, in some way or the other, Yaya Kaya Pividhaya, in whatever way you can, if you can actually establish the Sattvam of a Vastu through some Pramana, etc., then you can say that it is not Mithya. Correct? Because you are conclusively able to establish, but that cannot be done here. So nirupana anarhatva, but this does not have any nirupana arhatvam is not there for avidya. It cannot be conclusively established. Therefore, it is like even magic only. Correct? Indra jaladau. Okay. Mithyatva vyavaharaha. So, like even an Indra jala, you see it, but it is not there. So it is mithya. It is a false appearance. That's all we can say. Therefore, what? Nacha evam ajnana nivrittihi api durnirupa eva iti chet. Okay, now the Purva Pakshi is saying, if ajnana itself is durnirupa, the ajnana nivritti also is durnirupa. That means there cannot be any nivritti. Therefore, anirmoksha prasanga. This is the kind of argument they want to make again. So, ajnana nivritti also is durnirupa. Then what do we say? इति चेत् what यदि सा ब्रह्म भिन्नत्वेन विवक्षिता तर्हि दुर्निरूपा एव. See, even ajnana nivritti, in what way the ajnana nivritti leads to what? If it is leading to something which is other than Brahman, these people are only talking about loka gamanam and all that. So brahma bhinnattvena vivakshita, if it is said to be other than Brahman, then it is durnirupa only. But if you say this ajnana nivritti is nothing but Brahma adhisthana gamanam, correct? Basically, you gain Brahma Swarupa. Yaditu Brahma eva tarhi su nirupa eva. So it leads to moksha, which is permanent. The ajnana nivritti has to lead to Brahman. If it is leading to Brahman, which is nityam, so here it does not depend on whether the ajnana nivritti is nitya or satyam is not important. This is where the important thing is what? That the phalam is nitya. That is the beauty. From that standpoint, is su nirupa eva, because what you are gaining is Brahman. Therefore, yadi tu Brahma eva tarhi su nirupa eva ata eva mokshaha parama purushartaha nityaha iti kvachit drishyate. Therefore, only we say that moksha is parama purushartha. It is the only real purushartha. In fact, it is the only thing which is worthy of your pursuit, which is the only thing which is giving you something eternal. The result is eternal. In fact, it is beyond time, space, etc. So that's why we say that this is the pursuit which is the most worthy. It is Shreyas. Okay. Then what? Bandha, bandhavad mokshopi mithya eva. So we accept Like the bandha, if bandha is moksha, sorry, bandha is mithya, then moksha also is equally mithya, correct? Why should the moksha be real? So, bandhavat mokshopi mithya eva, we accept that we have no problem. Mithyayaha mithyatvam or whatever, mokshasya mithyatvam and all. Again, they somehow think that if moksha itself is mithya, then false moksha means there is no moksha, etc. That's not the point here. So, bandha purvakatvat mokshasya iti kochite, because even moksha, for moksha there has to be bandha. But the moksha itself is what? Finding out that there is no bandha really. Correct? The bandha itself is mithya, false. There is no real moksha that way. That's why we have to say moksha also is mithya. Once we say this, what? Nacha mokshasya mithyatvam kvachidapi na drishyate iti vachyam. Nobody has said that moksha is mithya. How can you say that? Means we quote Gaudapada. Who else can we quote? Interesting thing is, I think even the Dvaitins and Vishishtadvaitins, they accept the Mandukya Karika. That is the interesting thing. But I don't know how can they interpret anything in the Mandukya Karika within their framework. It is very weird. I don't know whether any of them have even written any Bhashya or any commentary on the Karika. Something must be there, but I have not read anything. But what I am saying, so what we are quoting, na nirodho, na cha utpattihi, na bandho, na cha sadhakaha, very, very famous Karika. Na mumukshur, na vai muktaha, ityesha paramarthata, it is shrute. So in fact, he is saying it is shruti. I think some other minor Upanishads also this verse comes, I think. So we don't know whether Gaudapada took it from the, we have to assume that Gaudapada took it from the some other Upanishad only, because this particular verse also is coming in some one of those 108 Upanishads. I have to go back and check that. So he is saying actually this is Shruti. It is Shrute. Hey. So Gaudapada himself has said that also is good enough for us. And but this is also there in some Shruti, and therefore Shruti itself is saying Bandha and Moksha are all, in reality, there is no Bandha. Then why should you require a real Moksha? That's why we give all this. And even the Pramana also need not be real. Correct? The Pramana is like a dream tiger. That's all. Bhashyakara himself says this in the Bhagavad Gita Bhashya. Shruti Pramana need not be real. The Pramana Pravritti and whatever, the Pramana Vyapara is like the dream tiger chasing you. That is good enough to wake you up. Correct? So whatever wakes you up from the dream is good enough. That itself is in the dream and it need not be real. That's all we say. So once you realize the bandha itself is mithya, the moksha also is of the same order of reality. That's why the sometimes then why should a guru teach and all that? What motivation he has, etc. If you ask, that's why we say it is all only karuna. There is no ahetuka karuna and all we say. There, there is no hetu because the jnani doesn't see any problem. In fact, my Guruji used to have public talks like psychology has no solution, Vedanta has no problem. Vedanta doesn't see any problem at all. In psychology, there is no real solution. They keep on blaming somebody or the other to make you feel good. I think the psychotherapy and all, they'll try to find what is the root cause, what happened in your childhood, and eventually they'll say that you are not to be blamed for that, etc. Which is all fine. In one way, it is correct. But then, what is the solution anyway? There is no solution. You will finally think you are a victim or whatever. You have to come out of that victimhood also. But even if somebody successfully comes out of that, you are still a human being only. Anyway, there is going to be a lot of problems. But with Vedanta, there is no problem. Psychology has no solution. Vedanta has no problem. That is how we see it. There is no real problem. Then why should I teach you means there is karuna. Only we have to say. Because you think you have a problem and you are suffering, then whoever has gone beyond that suffering can help you. Correct? Why should I not help? Also is the question. Why should I not teach? Pujya Swamiji used to also say this because he used to teach like anything. He used to come from US at 4:30 in the evening, 5 o'clock he will have class. There is no jet lag, there is no travel, this thing. At his age also, he was quite old even then. So, if you ask him, why are you teaching me? He will simply ask, why should I not teach? So, that's all we can say about it. So, you cannot question the motivation of a guru or a jnani to teach, etc., and say that it is untenable and all. The fact that there are jnanis and they are ready to teach you, correct? If you are ready to listen, if you are a qualified student, any jnani will be happy to teach, correct? That's why Bhagavan says, Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshyanti te jnanam, he says. In fact, I heard, I have not read, but Madhvacharya interprets it as upadekshyanti te ajnanam, which is very, very funny to me. I don't know how anybody, already they are interpreting Atatvamasi also. Atma Atatvamasi. But here I heard somebody told me, I have to go and see that Upadekshanti Te Jnanam. Of course, Sandhi you can split it anyway, correct? Te Ajnanam also is possible. So it is, but why should anybody instruct Ajnana? I am not very clear, but that is another funny interpretation, I think. But anyway, Jnani will teach. And there is no problem. Why should Jnani not teach also? We can ask. So that's all we can discuss there. Therefore, finally, what do we arrive at? Tasmad abhedaha yadi brahma bhinnaha tarhi mithyatvat durniroopatva. So finally, we started with the bheda. Okay. The whole discussion is about the durniroopatvam of bheda. But even abheda also is the same thing. Abheda, if you say is brahma bhinna, then it is mithya. The abheda jnanam has to lead you into brahma swarupam. Then it is sunirupa, it is satya. Because whatever you have gained is satya. The entity, the result, all the activity may be mithya, but you end up in satyam. That is the most important thing. Correct? Therefore, what? Yadi tu brahmaiva tarhi satyatvat sunirupaha eveti sankshepaha. So whatever you have gained by all these things, by all your studies, by Shravana Manana Nididhyasana, is Brahman. That is Satyam. That alone is Satyam. And in the process, you also discover that all your bandha, all the other vyavahara, including all the pramana, everything is only mithya. And mithya itself is mithya. There is no problem with that. So we'll go into the next topic in the next class. It's a small topic, but anyway, we'll see it in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು.